Hello and welcome back to another Project Diablo 2 video. I am Koredesh and today we're going to be going over the changes to Aura Radius in the Project Diablo 2 closed beta. So let's get into it. Alright, so basically the big change here is in the Season 10 patch notes we have utility and party auras. The radius scaling is now increased with base levels instead of soft. So this basically means that any aura that you get from an item is going to have a base level of like 1 effectively on the radius instead of whatever the soft points are. This is kind of a big deal, not for teleport classes. If you're a summon druid, a summon necro, all those different things, you're just going to teleport onto the the pack, whatever, and your mercenary is going to come with. It's going to have all the auras, etc. But if you're a whirlwind barb, if you're a frenzy barb, if you're running away from that mercenary, it can be problematic. So this is kind of to fix a pretty big issue that I actually wanted to go over previously, but I didn't actually get to go over that because I had moved. I basically was switching jobs. I switched states. I had a whole bunch of life changes, so I didn't actually get to go over some stuff. But I would like to go over it now. All right, so I made this slideshow because I planned to make a video for this last season, but I never got the chance to. Again, I moved. I moved states. I moved jobs. I did a bunch of life changes. And so I still have this, and I want to go over it. Some of it's going to be relevant, some of it won't be. So I'm going to go through it very quickly to touch on the points that I really want to hit. And so here's a bunch of topics. I'm just going to go through very quickly. Disclaimer, I am not a game developer. I'm a software developer, so I understand some stuff. But look, I think that the mod team and Senpai and everybody does an incredible job with Project Diablo 2. Go donate to it. Even though I'm going to be kind of critical about some of the changes, I still think that this is an incredibly fun mod. Second thing that I want to talk about is if you're looking for a patch note style of changes you want to see, Dark Humility is going to cover that way more in depth, and I have a link in the description. So moving on. As far as I discuss these problems, it's going to kind of be like I'm going to point out a problem and then talk about a solution. So you might not agree with the problem. You might not agree with my solution. If you're like, oh, that's not an issue, no worries about it. Whatever, just move on. So the first thing, this is one of the things that I had is public maps, was the loot rules. A friend of mine rolled and won a Mirror of Lilith last season, and someone yoinked it, and now that there's loot allocation, this is fixed. I'm not even going to talk about this. Trade site, I'm not going to really touch on. Dungeons, I don't really know what the purpose of dungeons are. I think I Am the Anti-Noob is talking about it in the Discord, and basically right now they're not used for leveling up to get to 99. It's better to just stick to tier 3s. In my opinion, you should have some, in my opinion, kind of treat it like a raid where it's like you get a bunch of people coordinated to clear it, and once you kill the boss, you get something cool. So like the Skeleton Key, the Heraldric Almanac, those items I think should only drop from dungeons, and everybody in the party that completes it gets the drop for them, or even something like a reusable Standard of Heroes. So really just quality of life items where they need to complete the dungeon one time and kill the boss, because then that could like make the content relevant, at least at some point, whereas right now it's not relevant at all. Anyway, moving on, I wanted an armory ladder lookup similar to how PoE Ninja build worked for Path of Exile, more quality of life stuff. Some of this did not make it. I would love better stash tab affinity for like runes and gems and maps. I would like for mercs and summons to display their hit points better. A lot of times when they take damage, every like 2 to 3 seconds, it will show like the tick rate of like, oh, their health went down. You use a potion, it goes back up. I think Token of Absolution to be more accessible. Again, moving forward. Class balancing. This is where the meat and potatoes of all this is going to be, is the Paladin. The Paladin has severe issues, and that is why this aura radius is going to be changed. So the biggest issue that the Paladins have is the auras that they bring are overshadowed by mercenaries and rune lords and items. It's a big problem. So so basically we have 2 active skill trees that are designed purely around auras, and it's not good design. It's a Diablo 2 issue, and it's a Project Diablo 2 issue. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Each aura in these 2 trees can fall into one of 4 categories. So the first category is a maxed out main aura, so things like Fanaticism, Conviction, Concentration, Might, Holy Freeze, Holy Shock, Holy Fire. So those are like your big main. You have it active. You always have it active. You run around. You kill stuff with it on. It's very good. It also generally benefits the party, but you have the maxed out main aura. That's fine. Next up, we have synergies, which is kind of like you're maxing those to benefit other skills. Again, pretty boring, but fine, I guess. We have the 1 point wonders, the redemption, the cleansing, the salvation, the vigor, things like that. You put 1 point into it. When you need it, you activate it. When you don't, you use your main aura. And then you have the passive points, which is really boring. So we have like resist fire. If you put multiple points into it, your maximum fire res goes up, yada, yada, yada. So this is not good design because, again, these are 2 skill trees. Right now, if you look at the defensive auras, you've probably never seen a paladin run meditation over somebody just using an insight. You've probably never seen them use meditation natively while there's that Act 1 meditation mercenary. The entire defensive aura tree is kind of garbage, in my opinion. Generally, because none of these are going to be maxed out main auras. So if you look at how much defensive Grand Charms are worth, they're worth nothing. It's useless. They're worthless. The offensive auras, there's kind of use cases for that, but it's a little bit different. Again, even the elemental damage that the resist fire, cold, and lightning give, because they do give elemental mastery, is still quite low, and certain characters benefit much more from elemental mastery than others. For example, a lightning sorceress doesn't care about elemental mastery at all because they get that from their lightning mastery. And so they'll have, so much of it already that it's completely irrelevant. So, moving on. Auras. There are 37 items that give auras, 10 mercenaries that give distinct auras. And yeah, so I've already touched on how Grand Charms are pretty much worthless for defensive auras, and for offensive auras, they're pretty cheap, and there's a couple builds for it, but not really great. And then I think the biggest issue is you cannot run multiple auras. I know Senpai and the team don't want you to be able to run auras on both left and right click simultaneously, because then you basically have no active skills. That being said, I think that it's fine. I know Path of Diablo allows you to do that, and I think it's fine in that. It's not the most interesting, but it could be cool. If you have something like, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't have to touch on that. So I want to compare this to Necromancer a little bit. So right now, the Necromancer has Curse Mastery, which allows them to run multiple curses. They can also get more curse effectiveness than pretty much every other character. Now, other classes can use items that proc, like amplify damage or other different curses, but they do so in a way that is not even close to the cap that the Necromancers can bring. There's also mercenaries that can also do it. The Act 4 Dark Mercenary does amplify damage. And so this feels balanced, but like to compare what the Paladin does with the Necro, like imagine the Necro only has the ability to have one curse active at a time. And then we basically remove one of the other trees, either Summoning or Bone and Necro, because that's kind of where the Paladin is at right now with their 2 aura trees. And would we think that this is acceptable for the Necromancer? Absolutely not. Like if this happened to the Necromancer, again, I love curses so much. Like I like support builds. That would not be acceptable. I'd probably stop playing if that was the case, because that would basically just kill the class for me. And so it's really weird for me for the Paladin to be in this state. So yeah, here's some different solutions, and I wrote these a long time ago, maybe like 3 months ago. If you're allowed to run 2 auras, maybe that fixes a couple things. You could do some fun stuff like, a high-level Conviction, stacking offensive auras with a high-level, like, Holy Shock or something, and you just kind of run around. You don't actually do anything other than just, like, basically play Righteous Fire and just run around. That might be kind of fun. I think some kind of aura mastery would also be very cool. I don't know how they would actually implement that, but, maybe they have an aura mastery for defensive auras or aura mastery for offensive auras. You could also reshuffle the trees so they're not, the Grand Charms aren't completely scuffed. And I don't think that they're going to do this because basically it would deviate too much from how Diablo 2 is designed. But the problem is the Paladin is designed badly. It's just a badly designed class, unfortunately. So you could reshuffle the trees till you have like Divine, Elemental, and Physical. That'd be one way to do it. The big issue that they're trying to tackle here is, again, Paladins, there's no point for them to bring the aura over Rune Words and Mercenaries, and their solution is to make it so the Rune Words and Mercenaries carrying those Rune Words are just annoying, and the radius sucks. That's not an actual solution to the problem. So, I don't know. I'm not going to really touch on the other stuff with the Paladin, the other classes. I wanted to focus on the Paladin here. But yeah, it's kind of scuffed. I don't think they're going to be able to have a solution for Season 10 because I think this is going to be a much bigger problem. Like, I think they're going to have to... The changes for the Paladin might be, like, the focus of an entire season because they're really going to have to, like, figure out some of these problems. And then one last thing that I would talk about is I think conversion needs to be brought back. I would love to see it be very similar to sacrifice, but revive on kill. I think that Paladin is one of those classes that benefits so much from having summons because of the fact that they have auras. And pretty much every class has summons now. We have assassin summons, we have druid summons, we have necker summons, we have Amazon summons. The only classes that don't really have it are like what barbarian and sorceress. I mean, they have hydras, but they're not actually summons. So I think that conversion should come back and be similar to revive, but only on kill for a short duration. I think that'd be awesome. It would also allow you to like kind of itemize more for auras and for getting the revive. Yeah, so I think that'd be cool. So I'm not going to talk about Sork issues. I'm not going to talk about Druid issues. Again, I think they already kind of made some of these issues. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I know this is a hot button topic right now, and it's kind of an issue. So I want everybody to know that, hey, I'm really excited for this season, really excited for this mod. Don't be too upset about it. It's really not as bad as people think, and I'll kind of showcase that. But it is kind of annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and do some gameplay footage. All right, so I wanted to kind of showcase the radius of the aura. So right now we have a level 15 fanaticism on the mercenary. And I am a barbarian that has merman sprockets, and then I also maxed out the increased speed. So I'm pretty fast. And as you can see, as I'm like running away from my mercenary, she's not off screen, and I run out of the aura. So if I'm like running up to stuff and killing, sometimes I'll have the aura, sometimes I won't. And a lot of barbarians, especially with like frenzy. So if I go get frenzy, here, let me go get frenzy real quick. So I'm frenzying, running around. Now I'm getting a little bit of move speed. And we're out of range. If she gets stuck over there fighting, I'm just not going to have the buff. So that's kind of the issue, is it's just not going to be consistent. And now Whirlwind and Frenzy and like certain barbarian builds are going to be, Charge is going to be a big one too. It's not always an issue, but sometimes it is. You know, I don't have it right now. Still don't have it. And it's back. So it's not like the end of the world. It's just like annoying. But I understand that it's weird because it punishes certain classes more than others. Again, druids and necromancers that are summoning, they're not going to care at all. Pretty much anything with a teleport is not going to care at all. But it's just weird and kind of punishes Whirlwind and Frenzy and certain other barbarian builds. So that's kind of it. And yeah, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you have solutions to this, go ahead and post in the comments down below. Bring it up to Discord. Really appreciate it. And I am very excited for the season start, and I will see you then. Take care.